Real quick, I wanted to let you know I have a new design up on my shop on Etsy. It is around the base set Pokemon cards. The link is in the description, and there's a 10% off code. Check it out. Now, getting into this finals match, we have Hunter Horak versus Fran playing Colorless, Hunter playing Lost Zone Psychic. Hunter on the left, Fran on the right. This is round 4, and going into round 4, Fran was the only player at 3-0. Hunter was at 2-1. So if Hunter wins this, then the badge is decided based on resistance. And if Fran wins, she'll get the badge outright. So we'll see how this match plays out. Fran is going first with Colorless on the right. She has Level Ball for Bidoof, and she also has a Fletchling in the active. Fran's Colorless list is a bit unconventional. It plays the Talonflame as well as a Gumshoos, which, how many of you have ever played against Gumshoos? I actually have not. In the times I've played against Fran, I've never played against her Colorless list. So we'll see what she can do here. Trainer's Mail played, Timer Ball found, and shuffling that back into the deck. Unfortunately, not finding another basic Pokemon search, but maybe an energy attachment for turn can get her on the right foot. Yes, we see the powerful Colorless energy come on to that Fletchling in the active and a pass over to Hunter. Hunter has Shuppet in the active and Esper on the bench. Level Ball is played here. Going to be looking for that Comfey probably to begin putting cards in the Lost Zone, drawing through his deck as quick as possible. Earlier in this round, I did lose to Hunter in a very close game. He was able to clutch it out. Lost Zone is just so strong if you once they get to the end of their deck, just able to recycle Lost Mine over and over. And Hunter plays Random Receiver, which reveals cards from the top of your deck until you find a supporter, and he is going deep. I think that's about 12 to 15 cards deep, and he finds a Guzma. Not really a good first turn supporter, so we'll see if he has anything else in hand. He did grab that Marshadow off the Level Ball, which tells me that Comfey is probably prized. Arven is his supporter for turn now. He grabs the U-turn board and Hisuian Heavy Ball, and that does tell us that yes, that Comfey is definitely prized. He wants to get that out as fast as possible. There is that Comfey with the flower selecting ability. When it's in the active, you can look at the top 2 cards of your deck and put one of them in the Lost Zone. If you are not familiar with this Lost Zone deck, it does not attack really until you have 10 cards put into the Lost Zone. So playing cards like Comfey and Colress's Experiment the first couple turns to get up to 10 in the Lost Zone until you can use Sableye's Lost Mine attack, which puts 12 damage counters wherever you'd like. It's a very unique deck, and it is pretty difficult to pilot as well. Lots of sequencing decisions as well as Lost Zone decisions. Once you put a card in the Lost Zone, those cards cannot come back into play at all. Different than the discard pile, where some cards you can get out of the discard pile. Lost Zone, you're not getting those back. And we see Marshadow played down, let loose, setting both players to 4 cards. That card is banned starting September 1st. Check out the gymleaderchallenge.com for that description. And you'll see here, quick pause, break. Hunter just played Acrobike and put the Mr. Mime into the Lost Zone. And now, before we get a ton of comments about how that's not what the Acrobike does, trust me, it will be okay later. So Hunter does play Acrobike and put some Mr. Mime in the Lost Zone. That Mr. Mime is supposed to be in the discard pile. Don't worry about it, though. Unknown has the Farewell Letter ability, which means when it is benched, you can choose to discard it to draw a single card. Just helps Hunter to get through his deck as fast as possible. There, Flower Selecting was used, putting the Trainer's Mail into the Lost Zone, and Rotom Dex is Hunter's action now. Rotom Dex is an interesting card as well. You shuffle all of your prizes into your deck, and then put 6 new prizes, or however many prizes you had left. You put that amount of prizes back into play. When Hunter plays that, that usually means either Sableye or Colress is prized, and he wants to be able to find Colress's Experiment. So when Colress's Experiment is prized, Rotom decks can get it out, hopefully. He has said before that there's times he's played Rotom decks and Colorless's experiment ends up back in the prizes. So hopefully that did not happen this time. And it's just a pass from Hunter over to Fran. And Fran retreats the Fletchling into the Bidoof. Looks like maybe there's not a lot going on in Fran's hand. Guzma's up the Esper. Esper has a fantastic evolution Pokemon. And Fran does evolve into the Fletchender, which has the quick attack. She can do up to 60 damage if she flips heads on the Fletchender. And unfortunately, she flips tails. But going into Hunter's turn, Esper evolves into a Meowstic, which can search out 2 supporters from your deck. And that is how you can find Colress's experiment early in the game. Flower selecting, being used, adding another card into the Lost Zone. It is energy retrieval. Hunter playing the Rescue Stretcher to get back that Unknown with the Farewell Letter ability to draw another card, continuing to dig, and Hunter finds Nest Ball. Hunter plays a lot of cards that can grab Pokemon from the discard pile, such as Rescue Stretcher, Rescue Carrier, things like that, so you can reuse that Unknown multiple times, as well as get key pieces like Comfey or Sableye out of the discard pile. Nestball finds Meloetta, which is an early attacker in the Lost Zone deck, just allows you to spread some early damage counters. You flip 3 coins and you can do up to 10 damage per heads on all of your opponent's Pokemon, softening them up for Lost Mine later. And now Hunter just passes back to Fran. A bit of a slow start for the Lost Zone deck, only 3 in the Lost Zone, but Fran is having an even slower of a start. That powerful Colorless energy did get discarded, and still looks like there's no supporter for Fran to be finding. Looks like that Let Loose really hurt her in the early game, and that shows you why Let Loose is being banned. Fran could have had a great couple cards in her opening hand. She had the Timer Ball. She would have been able to find Bibarel most likely, but instead she's forced to just use Guzma again on that Esper and knock it out, preventing Hunter from evolving into a Meowstic that will allow him to maybe find the Colress he needs to really get going. So Hunter uses Flower Selecting and puts the Meowstic in the Lost Zone and finds the Colress's experiment finally, where you look at the top 5 cards and put 2 into the Lost Zone. This will put Hunter at 6 cards in the Lost Zone, technically 5 with the error from the Acrobike earlier. So according to their game state, they'll need 4 in the Lost Zone to use Lost Mine, 5 if we're really being truthful about how the game is being played. It's just a simple mistake on Hunter's part. You know, you're so often putting cards in the Lost Zone. It's just something that happens sometimes. It's not intentional or malicious at all. And we see Hunter play the Mind Report Mewtwo. When you bench it, you can put a supporter back on top of your deck, and it's another easy way to recycle that Colress's experiment. It will be his top deck on the next turn. Now Soprano Wave being used from the Meloetta, 3 coins flipped, and it looks like only 10 damage to both Pokemon. Hunter did a smart play where he used Escape Rope to bring up that Bidoof, because that Bidoof has a built-in bench barrier, except while it's in the active. So being able to damage both Pokemon would only be possible if the Bidoof was in the active, and that is why he played the Escape Rope. Fran does find a Rangaroo, which can use the Instruct ability to draw up to 3 cards in her hand, but now she has to thin cards out of her hand to get a little bit of draw. Hopefully she can find something off of a couple cards. We'll see how much she can play down her hand. She gets rid of the Special Charge, putting back the powerful Colorless energy and the Therapeutic energy into the deck. She looks like she only has 1 card remaining in hand, maybe 2. Instruct for 2 cards. Needs a good supporter here. Looks like nothing was found, unfortunately. Chaotic Swell coming down. It's just this Fletchender against the world. No evolutions, no more basic Pokemon. And Colorless sometimes has a pretty good matchup against the Lost Zone because Snorlax is very hard for the Lost Zone deck to deal with. First, it has 150 HP, and second, it has an ability that blocks damage counter placement. The Unfazed Fat ability blocks effects of attacks, including damage counter placement. So to get around that, Hunter would have to play Silent Lab or a Hex Maniac to deal with a Snorlax. So it's unfortunate Fran is struggling to draw here. Otherwise, we could see Snorlax run away with it. And then that Colorless Hunter placed on top is played. We go up to 8 in the Lost Zone. Only a couple more before Lost Mine can start wreaking havoc on Fran's board. Meloetta retreats into the Comfey, flower selecting being used. Hisuian Heavy Ball hits the prizes. 9 now in the Lost Zone, and Banette comes down, evolving that Shuppet. And Hunter procs the Puppet Offering ability, which puts 2 more cards into the Lost Zone. And let's see that instant replay. We can see Hunter goes up to 11 in the Lost Zone here. Even with the extra Lost Zone card early in the game with the Acrobike, he does have 1 more than needed to use the Lost Mine attack, which requires 10. So by sheer luck and happenstance, the board state is somewhat intact, and Hunter would have hit 10 this turn with the Puppet Offering instead of 11 had that mistake not been made, meaning Lost Mine can be used. So it does work out a bit in the end. We see the Mew with the Memories of Dawn ability into the active can copy Lost Mine on Hunter's side of the board and put 12 damage counter onto Fran's side, and it has just enough power to knock out both Fletchinder and Bidoof. Unfortunately for Fran, that is 2 Pokemon she had for a long time down. Now it's only an Oranguru, and we'll see what she can do. She does have Revive to put Bidoof back onto the board, and Oranguru can use Instruct for 2 more cards. Still no supporters. She has 2 energies in hand. Fighting Fury Bell is on that Oranguru, giving it a little bit of wiggle room, a little bit of extra HP. And if I was on Fran's side, yeah, this is just not looking good, unfortunately. And Hunter has the Field Blower ready to go, putting that monkey down to only 120 HP, which can die to a Lost Mine. Fran frustrated, understandably so, to make it to the finals and potentially lose it all to some bricked hands, an early Let Loose. So we see the power of both Let Loose this game as well as the Lost Zone deck. Tulip is Hunter's supportive return, getting back a couple Pokemon and energy. Putting U-turn board onto the Mewtwo, does not want to get stranded anywhere. And Lost Mine being used again to knock out that monkey. Oranguru goes down. It is just this Bidoof against the world. Fran does top deck a Nest Ball, and maybe we can finally see that Snorlax hit the bench. And there it is. Snorlax with the Unfazed Fat ability will block damage counters from Lost Mine. Hunter needs to play Silent Lab or Hex Maniac to start chipping away at it. If those cards are not available, Snorlax can run away with this game. It is Fran's only hope at this point. Therapeutic Energy onto the Snorlax. Pokestop being used, and of course, supporters are the next couple cards discarded. But thankfully, a tag call was found, which can get Fran a couple supporters. And she can find the Mallow and Lana and the Guzma and Hala. Now, debating which one to play, the Mallow and Lana could be pretty good to keep if you can have a benched Pokemon, but this Bidoof is probably going down. Healing off damage done to Snorlax could put Hunter in a tough spot. And it looks like Guzma and Hala is the supporter being played here. Probably going to find a double colorless or a twin energy to attach next turn to Snorlax and begin attacking. And that Mallow and Lana does hit the discard pile. I'm not quite sure what that last card in Fran's hand is. And the double colorless and U-turn board are the cards found here. But Snorlax will not be able to attack until next turn. U-turn board onto the Bidoof now and retreating into Snorlax. Might as well. There's nothing else really to do at this point. Back over to Hunter's side. His deck is getting thin. Unknown's Farewell Letter being used to draw a card. We'll see if Hunter has the card needed to respond to the Snorlax. Buddy Buddy Poffin. Mimikyu, that is the other option for this Lost Zone deck to respond to Snorlax. If Snorlax uses its attack, Mimikyu, with only 2 energy on it, can swing right back to Copycat, Thumping Snore for the knockout. So Fran needs to attack into the Mimikyu with Snorlax to prevent that. That is her only chance, as well as hopefully Hunter does not have Hex Maniac, but he should have this locked up. There's the Hex Maniac. And an energy onto the Mimikyu, prepping it for next turn as well. Lost Blender being played, where you put 2 cards from your hand into the Lost Zone to draw a card. Another way to quickly get through your deck and add cards to the Lost Zone. And Beach Court is the stadium there. And Lost Mine being played with the abilities shut off. Putting all 12 onto the Snorlax. That is the threat here. Not taking any chances. Did Fran draw anything at all to get out of this? Double colorless onto the Snorlax. And you can see just how smart Hunter is with the Lost Zone. He's played this so many times. He knows it like the back of his hand. Playing Hex Maniac, knowing he needs to attack with the Sableye since it shuts off the Mew's ability to copy the attack. An Escape Rope being played from Fran. Ideally, you probably just want to knock out the Sableye there as opposed to the Marshadow. You know, at this point it doesn't really matter, but Hunter losing the Marshadow is a lot less impactful for him than losing the Sableye. And we see he has Versus Seeker for Hex Maniac to knock out both the Snorlax and the Bidoof. Unfortunate draws for Fran, but that was a masterclass in the Lost Zone deck. For the night, that puts Hunter at 3-1 and Fran at 3-1. They are tied, but who got to the badge? It was Fran who got the badge. She won on Resistance. This is her first badge at Full Grip Games, including last season, and we were all so excited for her. I'll end the video with this little chant we all gave her at the end. We were so excited. Congrats to Fran, and thank you for watching. Please subscribe. See you next time. Bye-bye.